The flag was born in 1861 in Montgomery, Alabama, to 7 secessionist slaveholding states whose economies depended heavily on the free labor of enslaved African Americans. The belief system that this flag represents is responsible for the suffering, abuse, torture, and murders of millions of enslaved Africans before the Civil War and more than 500,000 soldiers during the Civil War. Although the flag is long dead, people continue to suffer in its name. It was revived during the 1950s and 60s as a symbol of opposition to desegregation during the Civil Rights Movement. Today, the Confederate flag is survived by a despicable list of white supremacists and hate groups that display it proudly, as well as well-meaning people who are ignorant of the flag's true meaning. There being no Confederate nation left since its defeat by Ohioans, General Ulysses S. Grant and General Tecumseh Sherman, there is no one to mourn its loss. Today, on the 26th day of August, we commit this flag to history to be a historical record of how America and her people rose up against evil and injustice.
Because I am a daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter of slaves. I am also a daughter, granddaughter, great-granddaughter of slave owners. I didn't get this pigmentation in my skin coming from Africa.
Come on.
My lightness and my brightness come from my white ancestors. And I know that my white ancestors came from Pulaski, Tennessee, which was the home of the Klan.
Right.
I know that my white ancestors came from Toccoa, Georgia. One of them served in the Georgia state legislature. His son could not claim his white father, but he would drive him back and forth to Athens to the state legislator meetings. So that's our history. But we have a great divide. And so when you talk about history, is it white history, Southern history, is it black Southern history? Because they are very different things.
The problem that I have with the flag and the things that I would like to see changed comes from a lineage of my family that had to live under what the flag really stands for. And I guess I'm just asking the board to do the right thing, because we understand what the silence and the whispers of the flag really means to our community. And I guess I'm more concerned with the silence of our friends, even louder than the yelling of those who are for and pro this flag. So I'm asking our friends, we can't be silent anymore.
The Confederate flag stands for violence. It stands for racism. It stands for human enslavement. It stands for immorality. It stands for murder. It stands for terrorism. That's what the Confederate flag stands for. And as long as we stand and sit and not challenge that, you understand, then we will have to be, part of the problem, because silence is compliance. Thank you very much. Peace. Let's continue this one.
So we have a different view of history. And that's what we're dealing with on the Fair Board. They have a different view of history.
That's right.
Growing up in America, it's very dissimilar. But I would just hope that just like 20, 30, 40 years ago, you could go to the fair or go to the 5 and dime store and buy Mammy cookie jars and Little Black Sambo posters.
That's right.
And pickaninnies eating watermelon. It was okay. You could see that. As a child, I saw those things. We don't see those things anymore. We dare not see those things anymore.
That's right.
And it's because our community standards have changed. This meeting today is not about freedom of speech. We believe people have the right to free speech and assembly like we are doing here today. But community standards in Lorain County have said we do not want the flag, the Confederate flag, at the Lorain County Fair. Community standards are saying that. We have Muslim brothers and sisters here. We have Christian brothers and sisters here. We have Jewish brothers and sisters here. We have Lorain County here. We are the international city in Lorain, and therefore the international county. We are saying no to the flag. But again, we need that dialogue with our Fair Board. And we're going to get that dialogue. I don't know if it's going to take higher powers, and by higher powers, I mean God. And I guess that is what it's going to take. But we will continue. We will be
African tradition.
Yeah, let's put that down.
Hold it